It's a beautiful summer here and I'm just enjoying the fresh produce, the beautiful flowers. But the reality of life is that we have to do homemaking things. Hi everybody, I'm Elizabeth and my goal is to make homemaking simple so that it does not feel difficult. You feel like you can make the best meal and your family will get fed. They will enjoy the meal and you'll be able to make food that you feel good about and confident in making. So first up, I'm going to be showing you guys my leftover soup, which you can totally customize for your own thing. And I love this soup because you can do whatever you want and basically start pretty much every time I'm making a soup. I'm going to say that it's going to start with that base of onion and carrots and celery. I already had some carrots chopped up, so I just put those in frozen and then I sliced up some celery as well. But this is like the core of a soup, so go ahead and use that first. Of course, it's great if you have some stock or some broth on hand as well, but if you don't, you can also just let these vegetables simmer with some water for like a half an hour before you add the rest of your ingredients so that it can kind of like seep into the liquid and not just be water. And then make sure you want to season that really good. So the beauty of my leftover soup is that I basically just add all my leftovers to this soup and you can do whatever you want. And I've done this with different things and it still turns out great. And then you can season however you like. But instead of doing like the leftover casserole, I think this whole leftover soup idea is great. It's cozy, it's nice, and you can use the leftovers that you have. And it's simple, it's easy. So why shouldn't you do it? And then of course, if you want to like make it a little bit fancier, add some herbs, add some Parmesan cheese. And if it's like really not turning out the way you want, I would say add some fat. So next up, I am going to make some quesadillas, and I decided to make homemade tortillas. If you are new around here, you may not already know this, but I have had a hard time finding good quality products in the store that don't have awful junk ingredients in them that are not crazy expensive. And so we went through a time where it was like super tight. So I basically was making things from scratch and I had to learn some things. So I am still learning. And one of the things that I'm trying to do is learning to make here some homemade tortillas. I can't say that they turned out perfectly, but they did the job. And I still had some left over after this too. So it was awesome because I was able to use that for other meals as well. But I will put the recipe that I used in the description and then you guys can tell me what you think. But they turned out to be kind of like a thin flatbread and it worked really well still. And I just put this together by hand and it was just nice thing to learn, a nice thing to do. And hopefully it'll work for you guys as well. I think my goal when I was cutting this up was to get like somewhere maybe around 10 to 12. And I can't remember exactly how many I got, but I don't think it was an even number. But I just basically got these into some small balls. And then I ended up rolling those out to make them really, really thin. And I just rolled them out with a rolling pin. It probably would have been easier if I had like a tortilla press. Or you could also totally skip this step and just buy tortillas from the store if you wanted. I cooked these in my cast iron pan. I didn't add any oil, I just put them in. And I was hoping that they were gonna like fluff up, but they didn't. So I think I did something not quite right. I did get like a little bit of bubbling, but just not the like full on, which I think is what's supposed to happen with tortillas. So that's why I'm going to call these like a flatbread instead of a tortilla exactly, but they still turned out okay, and they still worked for the purpose of what I was doing. And basically after that, I just put in cheese and some shredded chicken and some rice, and I made little quesadillas. But you could do whatever you want. You could really add whatever you wanted. And then because sometimes I just feel like making something sweet, I decided that I was going to make some chocolate loaves, and I just kind of do whatever. I think it's more important to focus on consistency of the batter than to know an exact recipe. That way you can kind of put together a cake or cookies or whatever it is that you want to bake without the need of using a recipe. For example, I find that cookie dough is going to be thicker. It's going to form more of a dough. And then you've got muffins, cupcakes, cakes, that kind of thing that are going to be a little bit more, in my opinion, they're going to be a little bit more on the runny side. Maybe not necessarily completely liquid, and it kind of depends on what you're adding to your batter or how you're combining things. But I just find that those are not going to be as thick as a cookie dough, for example. And then, of course, once you're making bread, that's going to be even more thick and potentially more smooth. Whereas like a cookie dough is going to be kind of sticky, and then with like a cake or loaf breads, those might be sticky and wet. So I just find that if you're doing that, it's going to be a little bit easier to just kind of put things together versus focusing on having to know exact recipes. I will put the recipe for this that I used in the description as well. But of course, my goal here is not for you guys to be stuck on recipes. I want you to learn how to do things without a recipe and find that you can still make delicious food that turns out without having to pull up 20 different ingredients and the recipe online. And it's so much easier if you can do these kinds of things without having to do that. Originally, I put these in the oven at 375, and I was going to cook them for an hour. I did 2 loaves, and honestly, I think I could have just done 1 loaf and cooked it for an hour, and that would have been fine. Instead, I did the 2 loaves, and I cooked them at 375 for about 40 minutes, and I actually think that I overcooked them a bit, so I would say maybe closer to 30 to 35 minutes at 375, and just check to see how the batter is doing. Is it coming out clean, or is it still gooey? And because I think sometimes when we see these kinds of videos, we don't see the cleanup, let me assure you that there is cleanup. And I try to make it simple. I just wipe things off. And if it's like flour, I honestly wipe it on the floor and then vacuum it up. I find that is easier than trying to just keep the flour on the counter, but it's just a suggestion. Maybe try it out, see if you like that instead. I did end up making a little chocolate drizzle, so it's coconut oil which I melted and used some chocolate chips, and then I just like pour those over. I spooned them over the loaves. But this is optional. You don't have to do it. It just kind of adds something fun. A little bit extra chocolate. And honestly, I'm kind of obsessed with just doing this with like pumpkin seeds and almonds as well. So it is like a moist cake. It's pretty soft. I did overcook mine, so like not perfect, but it is a soft cake, pretty like squishy and dense. But it's yummy and just like It's chocolatey, and if you are like in the mood for a chocolate craving or whatever, just make this. Pretty easy to whip up and pretty quickly too. So go ahead and try that today. Thank you guys so much for watching Homemaker in Progress. And if this is the kind of content that you like, please like and subscribe.